You need to see how the market is shaping up in these two final trading days of the week. In my opinion, the two most important days that we have up until we have the Fed meeting in the middle, just past the middle of September. I believe September 18th is that conclusion of the meeting date. So let me put the charts up here for you. Quick intraday look at each of the charts that I have for you. The indices, I'm going to give an update on NVIDIA and Tesla. I'll also toss Bitcoin in there as well. So check out what we got for SPY. We are currently in the pre-market hours, right, just dancing above this support line that we have, and that value is at about 550. There is a Fibonacci value in there at about 552, and we're kind of squeezing right in between the two of them. ISM services data coming out today at 10 a.m. Watch that for a market catalyst, and we have resistance up to the north side of this, but that bottom support that we have along here, it looks a little bit like a descending triangle pattern, so we want to watch for that downward pressure, especially if we see numbers that are showing contraction in services. If we see expansion instead above 50 for those ISM services values, that can be upward pressure for the markets. So be on the lookout for it. And to the upside of this, resistance starts at about 553. Then we have more at about 554. And then we have this kind of free-floating kind of area up in here through resistance all the way up to 558. So to the top side, that's what I see. To the bottom side of this, if we end up down below support on this one, down to about 546. Into the Qs, again, taking a look to see what we have. We have this consolidation pattern happening right now. Maybe it's a part of a bear pennant as we look at this. We're going to have to see. It looks like we have some support going on for this, but maybe down to about 455. Below that, we have room to about 450. 449 is about what that's looking like. To the top side of this, we have a decent amount of resistance up here at about 466 to about 468. So we're going to be watching those values. And then going into IWM, looking a lot like what we saw for SPY. When we look at IWM, this white trend line that's right across the top of here is the top of the bullish channel. Right now, we're still sitting on top of it. We have not fallen back down into it. So if I will show in a future video, I showed them on my past videos, the massive bull channel that we've been in since the early 2000s for IWM, for the Russell 2000 stocks. And it's going to be huge over these next 2 days to watch and see what happens. And then also following the Fed from there and listening for any signs of recessionary pressures or inflation for that matter. But more importantly for the Russell 2000 right now, I think it's the recessionary pressures that we have to be worried about. So to the upside of this, we can see these previous peaks come in at about 215 if we're going to travel to the upside. And if we get really good news, maybe we see a little bit more levity. The real resistance really starts to kick in at about 218 to 219. And then on the support side of things, you can see we're in the support area right now. If we tumble down through that, we have trend line support also coming in and historic support coming in at about 210. So that's the directions that I have for IWM. For NVIDIA, where do we find ourselves? Well, once again, we have a consolidation pattern just like what we had in the Qs, and that makes a lot of sense because of being tech or tech related. And so we have the tops coming down, we have the bottoms coming up, and we're right in between support and resistance to the upside. If we're going to travel further up, we really got to break like 108 to 109. 109 would be the solid one to the upside, and then we have room up to about 111. The top of this resistance about 114. Down to the bottom side for support of this, 105. All the way down to about 102, then with a gap in here that takes us down to just about 100 even. If we really start to push into these support areas, you can see I have a 105 price target on here, which we already hit. We'll see if we go back and revisit it as we're about 106 to 107 in the pre-market hours here. For Bitcoin, we've actually traveled right back down below this critical support, which if we stay there makes it critical resistance. This is the daily chart that we're looking at, the only daily chart that I have in this video for you. So for this one, we could be looking at this price target down here of 55,879. If we blast down through that with these descending lows, which mind you, this is looking a little bit like a descending wedge. We'll see if it plays out that way. And then we room down here to about 54 if we push down through that instead. And then down below that, my price target at 51. If we go to the upside, you can see the first two price targets up there. And there's a few more to the top side. So last thing, Tesla, check it out. We are in the resistance area up here, but we are also breaking through the top of this consolidation pattern. It is possible that we continue to push higher today. So if Tesla's strength holds out, we have room up to about 228 to 229 and above that to about 233 to the top of that resistance. We'll see if we get there. If we're able to make it up above that, then you get to see this top price target up here come into play of 242. So be on the lookout for these price target numbers, and you can see a couple of them to the downside here as well if instead we do happen to fall back down. So guys, it's an exciting week coming up for us for the markets. I should see these next 2 days, and I think it's really going to set the course, especially with non-farm payrolls and with unemployment, especially if they come in surprising numbers, whether it's to the high side or the low side, then it sets our next path. So today is going to be important in the markets for ISM services. Tomorrow, non-farm payrolls and unemployment. Keep on watching those. I think that they're going to set the tone for the following weeks that we have, possibly even leading up to the election. Guys, thank you for watching. If you want to see my buys and sells, hear more of my commentary, look for the link down in the description for the Patreon. Hop on over to the Discord, and that's where you get everything over there. And then also, if you want to learn to do technical analysis like I do and take your trading game to the next level, there's also a course for that down in the description through Stockmo Academy. Click on the link. Use code word DOCTOR when you sign up. It's going to save you a ton of cash. Guys, thanks for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.